Hey, welcome back everybody to another session of Ironsworn. I think this one is it's 18, I think. Take a look. Uh
Sure.
yeah, it's this one can finally vote. It's either 18 or 19. I think this might actually be 19. Um so we passed up last time the ability to vote. Yeah, last time was 18, so this is 19. Um Getting on there almost into the 20s. Again, last time that I did a campaign of this, it only lasted 10 episodes, so we are well beyond that. I'm, of course, Midnight
You're
Jester age.
surviving.
Yeah. You're the one who's surviving, really. I died, in a sense, a
Okay.
long time ago. I had a bad time. But you've been hanging in there. And continuing on this quest to undo that whole me dying thing. Very conveniently for me, I might add. Thank you for that. How you been doing today?
Doing all right. Just a little low on energy,
No problem.
but I'm gonna try.
We'll get there
See you
together.
later.
We'll jumpstart that energy with once we get into it. Of course, we got that enormous like bassy bat battle that's about to come up. All the
Oh my
bees.
god, I totally forgot about basing that.
Yeah, bassy bat. Um,
Let's remember.
yeah, yeah. I was similarly
All
last
my
night.
imaginations come flooding back.
By the way, I've still got you on your laptop mic.
Oh, for some reason I thought you meant that you were coming on my speaker desktop thing.
Well, that
I,
too at the time, but yeah, I was.
that's what I thought you were talking.
Hold on. We've had a little bit of connection issues lately, but here we are. Hold on.
I'm
That's
just.
that's all right. Not your
I keep
fault.
hitting the wrong button. It is my fault. It's all
Nah,
my fault.
it's fine though. Fine, it's your fault. Oop, there we go. That sounds like the other mic. Yeah.
Am I coming in
Oh
clear?
yeah. That's definitely the other mic. We got you.
Uh-oh.
But yeah, last night I was doing that same kind of mental checklist where I was like, okay, preparing myself, getting back in the mode for Ironsworn, and remembering where we're going to be picking up. Like, where did we leave off? And then I was like, right, Basie Bat. Um, which is really, it's just a convenient shorthand for him. It reminds me of Casey at the Bat, but it's like the prequel, I guess. Anyway, um,
Casey.
it's a famous poem, Casey at the Bat. Um, it's about baseball.
Oh,
Yeah. Um, anyway, though, we are ready to do some Ironsworn for you today. Starting off in the middle of things with, in the middle of this enchanted-ish wood, a weird woods where people get lost a lot, and we already kind of got lost in there. And as I recall, you had met. I can't remember the name. Let me see if I can pull up. It's probably still in the random generator in the. If I go back and scroll through this, that's right, Melia. Yeah, I'm so happy that there we go. Now it's on screen.
ah,
So happy that this thing just remembers the previous rolls, so that I can always scroll back and do stuff like that. But you had just met another traveler named Melia, who is a uh, mercenary in these woods who saved your life. You had been falling into some quicksand, and kind of passed information off each other to figure out kind of what's the situation here, what do you know, and then eventually determined that you're gonna part ways since he was heading back to the road. You needed to go deeper into the woods, but before you were able to do that, we had this rustling in the trees with the Basie Bat, and yeah, I guess we need to get in on that. So the question, of course, is we're always able to zoom in or out as suits our purpose to determine exactly how much screen time do we really want anything to get. So before we break into any of the dice or anything, I guess just the question for you is this something you want to really play out blow for blow in a full on, like, let's see how this battle goes, or is this more not really important? You just want to get to the elves and we can gloss over this in like one roll.
Let's do one roll.
One roll? Okay. So,
Yeah.
this big bassy bat comes out of the trees, and we've got this whole scuffle with it kind of passing by, and you've got your sword, and it's doing its blast with the with its modified, like, evolved version of echolocation that no longer can give it. I can't remember if we talked about this on air or not. I know we talked about it afterwards when we were off the air, but we were mentioning how, just in case we didn't say it on air, how, like, imagine that this bat evolved, like, it got so big that its echolocation got bassier, and, like, it could no longer be used for location, so it's got those, like, all those eyes that go around its head that it now uses for vision. But now that it's so bassy, like, it really hits you with the vibrations. This is more like a sonic damage kind of thing. By the way, sorry, I am all stuffed up today. Ever since I woke up, I've been trying to be able to breathe, so that'll be happening all the more than usual today.
Yay, we can both be out of it.
I know, right? I'll just be unable to breathe. So, if at some point during
And
this
I'll be
broadcast...
narcoleptic.
So we both, at some point, for different reasons, might suddenly just, like, slam our heads down on the keyboard and just be out of it. Mine will be, if it happens to me, send somebody over to my house to, prod me and turn me over onto my side or something. Anyway, let's indeed wrap this up in the one roll to see, like, how does this battle go? How do you fare against the bat? And so, scrolling through here, we're going to make the battle move, as opposed to doing a full-on, like, enter the fray and then strike and all the crap and, like, ending the fight. Rather than do a full progress bar, we're going to do Ironsworn's version of just kind of doing it in a burning wheel kind of way, where it's all just, how did the fight go? Just one roll and you're done. So when you fight in a battle, and it happens in a blur, envision your objective and roll. If I imagine your objective, are you trying to kill the bat? Are you trying to get it to just, like, leave you alone? Or do you have another objective entirely?
Yeah, I'm trying to get it to leave me alone.
Okay.
I think it probably is big enough that it sees us as a meal. Or sees me as a meal. It doesn't see you, really.
Yeah.
Maybe it sees you on some spiritual level. I don't know.
Right.
But,
yeah, I wonder. And just trying to convince it that it's just not worth its time. Like, you're not an easy meal, so it should probably look elsewhere.
Yeah, and who knows? Maybe it's like a messenger of sort for some other entity.
Yeah.
Maybe it
never know.
Belongs to someone.
That'd be a cool thing to incorporate later. So yeah, so that's your objective. If you are fighting at range, using your speed and the terrain to your advantage, that would be an edge move. If you're fighting, depending on your courage allies or companions, roll heart. If you're fighting in close to overpower your opponents, that's an iron thing. If you're fighting using trickery to befuddle your opponents, that's shadow. If you fight using careful tactics to outsmart your enemies, that's wits. So when you envision this kind of blur of a battle, do you have any particular idea of, like, what does it look like to you? How do you try and win this?
I think I might try to distract it with sounds, like maybe since bats are they can't see very well, maybe
more sensitive to it.
Throw something, throw some rocks.
Okay.
Maybe I try whacking at it a couple times with my sword because it comes after me.
Yeah.
But I don't want to kill it, really. I just want this thing
right
to leave me alone. So
I'd say that's a.
I'm guessing wits, but it could be
yeah.
shadow too.
I was gonna say it's like a halfway point between shadow and wits. I think either one works there. Like, you are trying to trick the opponent, but at the same time, it's very much using your smarts to think of a way to what you're outsmarting the opponent.
With my knowledge of my extensive knowledge.
Exactly. And so because of that, I'd say that wits is still just as valid as shadow on that. That it would be basically just use whichever one's better. And since there's a clear difference between shadow and wits, let's give it to you for wits there. That sounds plenty reasonable to me. I like that, though. Befuddling your opponent with sound. Because while it may not be very good at using its voice for echolocation anymore, it still probably never lost that kind of sensitivity to the sounds. Because it didn't need to. It was... Anyway. battle. We're going to be using wits. First roll of the game. Let's see how this goes. How does this battle with the bat fare? Strong hit. Getting it. Oh, and like one of the challenge dice really tried to challenge you there, but you rolled maximum. You got it in there. Strong hit. You achieve your objective unconditionally. Take +2 momentum.
Ooh.
Yeah. Oh, and so your momentum is almost at your max right now. So you are rather well set up to face these elves, which is good. Yeah, you're gonna want that.
Yay.
So great high momentum, unconditional. As you said, you weren't trying to kill the bat. You just wanted to convince it that you're not an easy meal. So I imagine it probably doesn't last all that long then. Like, not only is this fight over in a blur in our rolling of it, but like it's probably only like a couple of quick moments where the bat's just like, oh wait, no, you're way too able to fight back. Like, fuck that. I can have a way easier time where I'm less likely to get hit. It's probably like the first time that you confuse it and it like slams into a tree or something, and then like afterwards it gets a cut. It's like, oh, what the? No, I'm out. This is what I don't even know what's going on, and it like flies back off into the trees.
Yeah, I probably at some point use my magic.
Oh, that's true. Yeah, that too.
To like, maybe it can see a little bit, but maybe that flash just maybe I'm able to startle it with that as well. It's just be like, what is this?
Yeah, I like that. It's just way too confusing. So, okay, well, if you think that your hands are part of it, that I feel like that would definitely get a reaction from Melia as well. If there's some kind of like magic glow to your hands, you were about to part ways, but that'll leave an impression.
I forgot I was still with Melia.
Yeah, you hadn't yet parted ways. Well, okay, so is that still something that you want to be part of it then?
Yeah.
Okay, cool.
I think that's something I would do.
It may have even happened not entirely in your control.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, so yeah, Melia at one point, like once the dust settles, it's just like, has that ever happened before? Is that the forest or is that you?
Oh, the.
He's like clearly pointing to your hands. Yeah.
Glow thing.
Yeah.
Like,
what was that? You said you followed a light. Was that the light? He's like scared right now.
It's just something that started happening to me ever since the obelisks started glowing.
Okay, so it's not the I thought I was being captivated by one of your lights again.
Oh.
It's not the forest.
Oh, you thought it was the will-o'-the-wisp thing.
I had no idea what I thought I was looking at there. That was the closest I could think of. So what does it do? What do you...
I'm not entirely sure. It seems to interact with magic in a negative way, and it's protected me a couple of times throughout my journey, and I'm still trying to figure it out. It is one of my vows to find out why this is happening to me.
Let's roll an oracle. I want to see, like, get an idea of, like, what is Melia's, like, pre-existing thought about magic and people who use it. Like, is he more accepting? Is he more just really scared of it? Let's find out.
Yeah, maybe
Let's roll an oracle.
Just
get an idea of how he would respond to this.
He's had bad experiences.
Yeah.
Magic.
As always, if Chad has any ideas on how likely we should rate these sorts of questions, feel free to chime in. But I'm inclined to say just 50-50, like, who knows? The question on this will be, like, does Melia react negatively to people who use magic? Just in a very broad sense. Does he think it's a negative thing? I'd say that's just 50-50 in this world. I think just some people do, some people don't, you never know. But it's not any more common or not. So let's see. So that's the question. Does he react negatively? He does. Okay.
Aw, damn it.
Well, I mean, you were parting ways anyway. And I don't think he's going to be, like, vicious or mean about it, but he's just clearly still very uncomfortable and is, like, he starts more hastily packing up and just being like, yeah, I will... safe travels to you and keep... I think the road was that way, and does like a quick awkward sort of like bow and leaves, but like never fully turns around for a little while. Like he's like keeping an eye on you as he's backing up. Um, yeah, it's clearly just gets a lot more nervous once you start. Like the more you give details about what is going on magically with your hands, there's a clear correlation. Like it's hard to miss it. He's like trying not to be obvious about it and trying to be polite, but it's there.
I just, yeah, watch after him and then say to Flint, "Was it something I said?"
I don't think that there is anything you could really do about it. Once he saw it, I think he's just. Some people just like the world a little bit simpler, and yeah, I think he might have been one of them.
Well, I'm one of them too. I didn't ask for this.
I know, but some people are a little bit more tolerant of the way the world actually is. Some people prefer to keep their eyes closed. You know, in a way, I was probably more like him before my eyes were closed and then reopened. But, yeah, I'll start looking around. I'm going to see if, like, now that we're kind of in the thick of the woods a little bit, I'll see if Flint can spot something that seems, like, familiar. To be like, wait a minute. Like, last time I was here when I found those out, like, we know that we're looking for signs of, like, burned trees. That was one thing. But I'll see if there's anything else Flint can spot that's, like, I think I remember this piece of the forest for whatever reason. So I'm going to try and set you up with a aid your ally kind of move. And, let's see. Where is it on the sheet? There we go. Aid your ally. This will just be with wits, which unfortunately he's not good at, but I'll do what I can to help you out here and see what I can make happen. Who knows? It could be the opposite. It's like, weird, but I don't see anything familiar. We just need to move. Okay.
That sounds more likely.
Probably. Yeah, you know, I've got a thing here where it's either a complication or if I burn momentum, I can turn a complication into a strong hit. I think I'm gonna do that.
Sure.
I don't want to give you a complication right now, just out of like trying to find a something that went okay, and we're more reliant on your momentum right now than mine anyway. So why don't I just do that? I had my momentum maxed. Let's get rid of a complication here. So unfortunately, that'll go all the way down to 2. But that's just mine. Yours is still fine. Let me reset that on my character sheet in here. Okay. So a strong hit, aiding my ally, which means you will get the benefits of a strong hit on secure and advantage, which is... Alright, you get to choose one of these. So you can either take 2 more momentum, which would be a little wasted right now. I think you can only get 1 more anyway, so you'd only get kind of half the benefit. Or you can take control, which is make another move now, not a progress move, and add +1. So you could have a +1 on that undertake a journey you're about to make to like head through these woods.
Okay.
So I guess indeed it would be like
Yeah.
Flint sees something like I think maybe he spots. Like, maybe we do have charred trees. He's like, wait a minute. That tree over there. What? Take your finger, rub at it. Or not your finger. Brush the snow off of that. I think I see... I can't tell if that's just, like, something on the outside or... I feel like I'm seeing through the snow. That might be black bark. And yeah, like, you wipe it away, and indeed, you can see just underneath all the snow that's coating these trees in the area, that one is just this charred tree that like even I think some of it even wipes off on your hand and you've got like a little bit of soot on there now. And then, you know, other trees in the area, it's the same thing. Like, or let's even make it even luckier than that because there's a full-on strong hit. Like, you do another tree nearby and like that one's not charred, but then on the other side it is, and so we have a direction now of like, the charred trees generally are this way. Like we happen to get just so lucky as to find the perimeter of the charred trees, and so we know which way to go.
Nice.
Yeah, go with that. So so yeah, why don't we do the trying to finish off this journey to the Elven Fortress with a +1.
Let's do it.
All right. So there's another wits move for you. This time you have a +1, so this really should go pretty well for you. And if it doesn't, you theoretically have a lot of momentum. Though I would try to save it for like actually interacting with the elves, since I imagine they might be a little bit standoffish, to say the least.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, weak hit. In theory, you could burn momentum on that, but again, I wouldn't recommend it. It seems like a bit of a waste. Weak hit should be fine. Updating your momentum on here as well. Okay. Actually, I updated that wrong. There we go. Alright, so weak hit on Undertake a Journey. I think that's the one where you make it, but you lose 1 supply. Let me just check on that. Yeah, you reach a waypoint and mark progress, but suffer -1 supply. Hey, I'm starting to remember these. So I'll update that. So you're starting to, you have to burn through it a little bit. Like it's been a weird forest. I imagine, even though you know the direction, we talked about how the forest is kind of shifty. I actually wonder if the like once you get into the charred section, I wonder if that still shifts as much, or if that's like had a weird impact on some of the magic of the area, and like that's more stationary, and so maybe it's easier to find now because like the forest around it shifts, but there's like this core section that can't do that anymore, and so maybe it's become a little bit easier to spot. But regardless, to get there required a lot of just using up supplies, and I imagine you lost probably some of this is like discovering things that were lost when you were in the quicksands that like we only now realize were lost. Like I see this less as like you necessarily used up the supply on this part of the journey, and more like we now, when you get there, we now see like, oh, I only have this much left. Like we now realize how much supply you had, and like a lot of it was just lost.
Okay.
I think that's just an interesting way to look at it, as opposed to like, yeah, it took you a while to get through and you had to camp and use up your stuff and drink a lot of water. Like either way works, but I don't know. I kind of like this version.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. So somewhere in the bottom of a bunch of quicksand is like, just like ruins more of your like food.
Oh yeah.
And yeah.
Could have lost it there.
Exactly. Like you just it
Maybe
invaded
the
your
bat
pack.
got something and flew off with it.
Yeah. Exactly. Like in that whole moment, and it could just be stuff that's also like spoiled because of it. Like you didn't lose it, but it's the quicksand just got into the pack, and it's like, oh god, like this is, I can't eat that. Like it's awful. So there's just stuff that you have to throw out along the way. And but with that, we can mark the progress and then get there to the Elven Fortress. So we have one more. Oh, wrong track. There we go. We should be on this track. Boop, boop, boop. And just pretend. These are about to disappear, so just pretend those hash marks are actually fully filled in boxes. Because they should be, and we're about to get rid of them, so I'm not going to bother changing what they look like. So there's one more move to make just to see, like, how do you reach your destination? Like, you've made it, you're almost there. I think you've gotten, like, more into the thick of the charred trees. It can now see, like, in the distance, a treetop village. It's pretty cleverly hidden, but you found it, like, just a little ways away, and you just have to kind of make that final approach, and see how this goes. So we're gonna make the reach your destination move, and see, how does your 9 boxes compare against these? Let's see. 2d10s. All right, we have a 1 and a 9, which means this is a weak hit. And this is one that even if you add enough momentum, you're not allowed to use momentum on this one. It's all just how much progress did you make. So a weak hit, I don't remember exactly how that works on Reach Your Destination. This is, you arrive but face an unforeseen hazard or complication, envision what you find. I feel like this one is, this one feels real easy to me. And it's kind of the way I want this to go anyway. I think, like, you get there, but, like, the instant that you set foot, it's like, it's that moment in Lothlorien where, like, all of the elves are, like, with their bowstrings pulled back and talking about how Gimli was making a lot of noise, like, you get there, but they are on you immediately.
Yeah, I think we're greeted by...
Yeah. You definitely don't
some kind
get to
of-
get here, like, on your own terms and just, like, unnoticed. They are well aware and probably let you get in. It was kind of like a, like they're just waiting for you to officially, like, enter the ground so that they can be like, okay, yeah, you did, now you're here. But they're, like, watching you for those final, like, for that entire move of Reach Your Destination, there was, like, perked ears in the trees, looking down and just checking until you walked past, like, this, some exact point on the ground where they're like, okay, and pounce. And it's not a fight, but suddenly, and like noiselessly, I think we indeed have... I want them to use a different weapon. I don't want them to use bows. It's too classic. Let's see if we can give them something else. Let's what would elves use in this world? Like, they may also use bows, but I don't want it to just be like, oh, they're all elven archers. See if we can, like, make this a little bit more out there and weird, like less just
Maybe they
human.
glide through the trees somehow.
Oh, that do like a tree walking sort of thing where, like, enter one tree, come out the other.
Yeah.
Okay. What if yeah, maybe they
Well, I meant like more like gliding. Like,
oh, like they literally glide. Okay. Yeah. I'd like that idea if they have some kind of, like, constructed thing that allows them to glide. I also like the idea that maybe they don't use weapon. Like, they may be entirely, like, it's like a monastery type of thing. Like, they're it's like a martial arts sort of situation. They train themselves for hand-to-hand combat, but yeah, elves in this world perhaps are not weapon masters, and maybe they have something against it for whatever reason. Which might be something along the lines of, like, to make weapons, you'd have to, like, you need materials. Like, you would need to harvest from the forest and, like, get wood or break up rocks and things like that. Like, you would need to get metal and wood for shields and stuff like that, and they don't want to disrupt the forest. So in order to not do that, they to leave things as they are, they I wonder what they do for clothing then. There may be some types of things that they're allowed to harvest in specific ways, but yeah, I think they don't use weapons because they don't want to. It's too disruptive.
maybe they don't have clothing. Maybe. They make it.
It could be. They're just, like, completely naturalist. Yeah, we can go with that. The elves in this one, and prepare your fan art now. The elves in this place are just entirely nude. And do you imagine, how do they like, since we're seeing them for the first time, let's get some ideas on, like, maybe we can do some oracles. Like, how do elves look? Like, how are they different from humans? I don't want, like, it shouldn't just be pointy ears, but, like, are they taller? Are they shorter? Are they... What are the various things that make them look inhuman? Because I think it should be something that you can easily tell at a glance. Like, we are not the same.
Yeah, I just always thought it was their ears.
I think that's definitely part of it. We can
Their
keep
height.
that. So let's get some oracles here.
Maybe their eyes glow.
Yeah. All right. We can start with that. Do elf eyes glow? I'm gonna put this, like, because I don't care one way or the other. 50-50 on, like, all of these. Do elf eyes glow? No, they don't glow apparently.
No.
It's a shame, but yeah. So their eyes don't glow. Do they have hair? Like, are they Are they like are they mammals? Like, do they have hair? I'm imagining on their head, but 'cause
I imagine they have hair.
yeah, they do.
Uh,
They've still got hair.
maybe they just have like some kind of aura
Okay.
or
Well, let's see. Do they project a kind of aura around them? Yes, they do. So that's probably the big thing that really makes them stand out immediately. I think it's a type of thing that they can suppress when necessary, to like so to stay more hidden. But it probably takes a kind of concentration. Like if they're not actively thinking about it, they project this aura, um,
yeah.
and then yeah, as needed, it can kind of suppress it. It was
What
considering
if
though with that
they're
glider thing, if they don't make weapons for the reason we gave, their gliding is probably a little bit more just part of their natural body. Um,
yeah, maybe.
so maybe they have a little bit of like a like underarm kind of like a sort of bat wing sort of flap that can extend, or like a sugar glider sort of thing. Um,
Yeah.
allows them like some pretty minor gliding. I don't think they can do it very long, but I think they can do a slight glide that basically just slows their fall more than anything, which I guess is what gliding is. But
Yeah, that'd be cool.
yeah,
Sugar glider elves.
yeah. Let's just say that's true since we said that they glide. So yeah, they've got kind of like some weird underarm stuff. They have a bit of an aura to them, and
Pointy ears. They still have to have the pointy ears.
yeah, that they just have. And let's see, height wise, are they a comparable height to humans? No, they are not. So do we want? Let's see, what do we want to test for? Taller or shorter?
I always thought they were taller, like
Okay,
just as a distinction of elves. But I mean,
we could definitely have them be just like significantly taller. Because I like with the idea of like they're not comparably height. It's not even that they're just like, hey, humans are like, you know, on average 5'6", and these elves are like 6 feet. Like, it's not. I don't think it's that close. I think they're on average are probably at least like a foot taller. I think these are like all of them you're going to be looking up to in a very literal sense. So yeah, let's just declare them as like a pretty significant height difference overall. Um, I don't think that they're all lithe. I think in general they're relatively thin, but they come in all body types. Like I think their average kind of like thickness is about like a human, but like humans, like they come in all shapes and sizes. There are some really tall elves that are really big. There are some that are really skinny. And they come anywhere in between. Um, just to keep them from being too much just like carbon copies of each other. And then like, do we like the idea? I kind of like the idea of them also having like relatively human skin color, like in varieties as well. Just that they have that glow to them. That might like maybe the glow comes in different colors, which signifies different things about like their state in life or things that they've accomplished.
yeah.
Like ritualistically, like those might change to signify like social status, like all sorts of things that our characters don't have a understanding of, but like there's a big social significance in their community to exactly the way
What
they
if
glow.
what if they all glow because of the obelisks?
Oh, could be like
What
it
if they're
got
also tied in as well?
it got more strong.
Yeah.
Yeah. So anyway, so we got little bit of a better picture of what are these elves when they come around you and now emerge from the trees nakedly, and like in the way that they're threatening you. Like it's not pulled bowstrings. It would be like because they're just martial artists, they'd probably just fully emerge and like just surround you and have like hands at the ready, or potentially more than it's probably a bunch of them surround you, and then somebody tries to like get you in some kind of a lock. But I think we can roll against that. If I guess it depends on you. Like as they're emerging, you detect this happening. Like it's a bit of an ambush. It catches you off guard, but I think you have the ability to react to this. Is it something you would try and resist in any way, or for like diplomatic reasons, or are you more or less just letting this happen?
No, yeah, because we entered their domain, and
Okay.
I definitely come in peace in this scenario because I'm trying to get help from them.
Okay, so
So I already know.
then because of that, with that in mind, then I think that yeah, that the so like a bunch of them surround you, like I don't know, small handful, somewhere between 5 and 10 are surrounding you, and then one of them comes to comes behind you and gets you in some kind of like a headlock sort of thing, like some kind of just restraining sort of hold that the elf has on you. He's probably one of the bigger elves, one of the ones that's just a little bit more muscular and just big, and easily stands like a foot and a half taller than you. So it's probably not the hardest thing right now. So he's got you in a hold, and then one of the other people from the surrounding, from the woods around, like emerges from the trees, like glide. We see them. I think all these elves, to a human eye, like they probably have elf genders. I don't think we know enough about them to gender them though. I think to a human's eyes, they all look kind of just non-placeable. Like I don't think any of them have like
Yeah,
big swinging
like,
dicks or anything like
they
that.
probably
That's like
don't have-
very
Yeah, they
that's
don't
very
have noticeable.
yeah.
genitals
It's
or-
not easy for
because
us.
we did agree on that.
Yeah.
That the one that we're looking for is
Yeah, that exactly. That one was certainly
not gendered.
yeah. So that might be a wider thing with them, that like maybe it's less that because when we said that they were gender neutral, well, I guess that one in it may be less that that Flint was right about them being gender neutral, and more that Flint was never able to identify them as having any particular gender,
Oh yeah, maybe.
and just was never really certain. So yeah, I think that any gender that any of these might have, we have no idea. Their signs of that are completely different than human signs, and we just don't know how to judge it. So one of them emerges from the woods at large, gliding down, and then like does like the superhero landing, like on one knee, and no, I think that would look pretty stupid, but glides down, comes upon a graceful landing, and takes a few steps up to you and say, let's get some character description on this person. I think they've got some significance. Find out what kind of personality they have, and we're getting to roll an elf name because I think they're going to introduce themselves. Kirihu. So this elf's name is Kirihu, and
You can call me Who for short.
where is it? Character descriptor. There we are. Sick. Oh, that's interesting. So they're clearly like, I'm not going to roll their role because they're clearly like there's some kind of leadership position in this place, and but yeah, they're sick. Probably trying to hide that, but I think you're.
What if he's the healer? Maybe it's not just that
Could be.
they're sick themselves, but heal the sick.
Still athletic and stoic. Well, that definitely works with the general, just kind of like elf sort of neutral kind of expression, and they.
Man.
I don't know. I do like the idea of like they might have some kind of a sickness here that might even be more widespread, and have to do with the like something that never happened as a result of the fire, like something that kept them healthy that's been damaged.
Maybe.
So Kirihu,
Yeah, maybe.
Kirihu reaches a landing and introduces themselves. I am Kirihu, and you do not belong here. State your purpose.
Please, we mean you no harm. We're just looking for crap. What was his name? Hold on. Let me just get my notes.
Oh, you Are you royal human?
Me? No. Oh, definitely not.
So you do not use the royal we, then? Who is this companion of yours?
Uh, he's not in flesh form right now. He lives in my pendant.
Now, I think if anybody were to, if any culture were to understand and accept that as true, it would probably be them.
Yeah.
I think Karihu is going, as soon as you say that, is going to lightly, like not aggressively, reach towards your pendant to try and take it off your neck. Is that something that you are going to allow to happen, or is that something you want to resist in some way, either physically or through
Um,
words?
I think I resist at first, but then I realized this is the one place I think that Flint's gonna be able to get a body back. So I reluctantly, but then take it off
Okay.
and hand it.
So yeah, like we see that resistance, but then Karihu just keeps and like probably stops for a moment as you do it, but then like gets that read of like keeps slowly going in and then takes it off your neck and begins to examine it over and over in kind of like tossing it over and looking from all sides in your hands. Dangles it above.
His name is Flint, and we're looking for Naya.
Um, okay, well, let's turn this into a roll. Would you say it's fair to say that your real goal through in this moment is you could phrase it as persuading Karihu to um, give you information about Naya?
Yeah.
Yeah, like at least in a broad sense, that's kind of the aim here. Um, now, is there? Okay, I think it's also fair to say that the closest that you're doing to this is to you're trying to be peaceful and just pacify barter. This is a heart version of compel. Um,
Makes sense.
yeah. Now, is there anything else you add in to like uh give any more reason of like why they should help you?
Um,
Just to get a
I
good sense of like
probably just mutter like Naya owes him a debt.
okay.
A life for a life.
Interesting. All right, let's roll that compel. I feel like that's now definitely enough to qualify as like persuasion and a good reason why they should care and be like yeah, I don't give a shit what you need. You don't belong here. Um, okay. So here is our compel move. We've got heart, your best stat, your +4 stat. You got a buttload of momentum. Let's see. How is the game going to take this away from you? Come on. All right, no modifier on it, but come on. Okay. It's a weak hit, and unfortunately, it's high enough that you can't turn that into a strong hit with momentum. But weak hit still means that you would like they'll do what you want. But they're gonna ask something in return, which fully makes sense. Like it's honestly it's the result that makes the most sense in the fiction anyway. But before we figure that out, you are gonna take that final +1 momentum, so you're gonna be fully maxed out, and since you're using this to gather information from them, that you would have a +1 on that. Let me just set your stuff right first. So 9 momentum, and we'll do that over here as well. Oh, also, your journey is complete. Let me make this go away. That's not a thing anymore. Okay. 9 momentum at your max. And okay, so let's see. What would they want in return? For this information, I think there
They
might
want
be.
me to take off my clothes.
I think there.
You must be one of us now.
Yeah. I think
Remove
that
your
I think
clothing.
there probably is some kind of like minor trial to show that you are worth, like, because in their eye. Okay, so we'll phrase this in character as opposed to out of character. Kurihu says, "The debt may be owed to Flint, but nothing is owed to you. In order for this to transfer over, you still need to demonstrate your worth in our woods, why you should be allowed passage even as far as you've had. Prove yourself worthy, and then we can talk about Naya."
Well, I don't know what you would need me to do. I'm just the
Like,
messenger.
they like give a signal to for the person who's got you in a lock to like let you go, and like kind of behind the back. Actually, I'm trying to think, would they give you back the necklace, or are they keeping it for them? I think as some kind of leverage, they're keeping this on their person for now. Especially if this is Flint and Flint is the one who's owed something, they're like, all right, Flint can be here, you can't. So like I think they stow that in a I guess they're naked. They don't have a pouch or anything to stow it on. They would just like
I might just put it around.
yeah.
for now.
Yeah. Oh, that's great. Yeah. They'd I think there's a moment where Karihu is looking at it, like kind of analyzing it really quick just to make sure like there's nothing weird, like this isn't some kind of trick, and it's not like some cursed item or something, and then after doing enough scrutiny to determine to their liking that that this isn't a trick, puts it around their own neck, and which is definitely the first time anybody's done that. So we need to ask an oracle right now to determine if somebody else has it around their neck, do they have that psychic connection with Flint? Let's find out. Or is that just a you and me thing?
I imagine the elves are spiritual and in touch with
Yeah.
spirits.
So we want to rate that as likely then, like this person they will likely be able to. All right. So can Karihu now communicate with Flint? No. Despite it being likely, that appears to be just a you thing. To them, like, they clearly can tell there's something magical about this necklace. But when putting it on, there's not that kind of immediate psychic connection. The line is dead to them. I don't think
that they need.
Like, they don't.
That I'm worthy.
Well,
because I'm the only one that can talk to him.
I think given a weak hit, there's something that's gonna involve some rolls. I just need to figure out like what is an elven trial of worthiness, and a minor one. Like you didn't miss, so it's not gonna be like some horrible combat or something you have to get through. But like, I think I like the idea of them taking you to a place and like there's some like very simple trial, but you have to pass. And let's use the oracle to get a good theme on this to help get some inspiration, because at least speaking on my own behalf, I have no idea what that is, but I feel like together we can figure something out if we get just like a little push in a direction. So I'm gonna roll an action and theme. I'm gonna do theme first to see what that inspires. Loss, okay, and then the action protect. Okay, so it could be about like those could be two potential outcomes of this like little trial that they bring you through, that you could either something that you protect so that it doesn't get lost. I wonder what sort of thing that might be. Are we talking like a true physical object and like it's a like almost like a physical trial, or I imagine they would prize more like spiritual type of things. And so it might be a more metaphorical place that like I imagine almost like the like in Empire Strikes Back where Luke goes into the weird tree in Dagobah and like has this whole strange vision and all that. Like I'm getting that kind of vibe of where they would take you, like some other place in the woods, like outside of their actual community, but like still in the Blackened Woods area. It's just nearby, where like strange stuff happens, and there's like something you're expected, like something the exact trial, like something that you're trying to protect on a more spiritual level, so that you don't lose it. And I imagine it's like if you don't pass the test, then you will indeed lose something kind of from yourself. But something minor, because again, like this was a weak hit, not a miss, so I don't think the stakes are too high. There's just something they want in return. Let's see. I want to roll another theme to see if we can get like better sense of what might be on the table here. What is something that you might lose and need to protect? Weapon. Interesting. Okay, so maybe less spiritual. And in fact, if we really want to do this easily, it could just be about how, like, obviously they're martial artists here, and they it could be something that you have to do like without your weapon. Maybe it is a simple combat. Hell, it could even just be. The immediate thought I had was like this like feat of strength thing, but again, like I don't think that's the type of thing they prize exactly. Wouldn't be like, oh, you bested our best wrestler, you can get in here. Like I don't think they give a shit about that. What's something? Maybe there's a sort of martial arts sort of move that, like, akin to the classic, like, the only way that you could break through these cinder blocks is if you're able to channel your ki exactly, like something like that, where there is like a thing you have to do without a weapon that, at least in their belief, would not be possible unless you were like spiritually whole. And like who knows, maybe it's possible, maybe it's not, but in their worldview, only somebody who's truly channeled their spirit properly could do this task.
Okay.
So let's see.
Maybe I just have to tightrope walk. Maybe they believe that everyone should be in balance, and if you're not in balance,
just do like a blindfolded walk of just sort of faith across something like a tightrope. Yeah, could do that. Now keep in mind with that suggestion, your edge is now in the shitter, so that'll be interesting. Granted, you have a lot of momentum. Yeah, why don't we go with that? It's certainly not the most, like, we didn't directly get that from the oracles, but it still gave us enough ideas to eventually get there. So yeah, why not? I think it's not like an actual rope. I think it's some kind of naturally occurring thing in the forest that they take you to. Yeah, like, I don't know if there's maybe a vine or something, or maybe even just a place where there is just a very narrow ledge. And yeah. I was trying to think of like a few more details on this. Like, now I'm in trying to think of the place, I had another version of like what it could look like, where as opposed to it being like a tightrope, what if it's like, so there's like a spot where there's a waterfall and it's like still just barely not frozen. So it's like this frigid cold water, and like it's crashing down against this rocky wall, but there's like a little bit of a lip, and it's like it's so narrow. Like there is a wall on one side, but it's very hard to stay balanced on it and very slippery. And you have to kind of cross that while being like pounded on by this water.
Oh my god.
And obviously, like, you gotta do it relatively quickly because the water is so frigid.
That sounds horrible.
It does. And so I imagine what's the real stakes of this are, of course, like, if you don't pass, then you're on your own. They're not going to let you in, and now you're freezing cold in the wilderness. If you do pass, I think they have ways to try and like then quickly warm you up and like tend to you because you have indeed passed. And then I think for the same reasons, like they believe that there's a representation of proper balance and harmony with nature. That anybody who truly has respect for the environment will be respected by the environment and will not be pushed to their peril. They'll be able to make it across and will not be bothered by the horrid cold of this pounding water. To them, it will feel simply like a gentle rain. Only to those who do not have proper respect will they feel the rushing torrent of the crashing waterfall.
Okay.
Yeah. So let's roll with that. So they take you to this place as described, and yeah, there's like I don't think it's like too huge of a waterfall. I don't know how majestic and grandiose you want to make this. Like, are we talking like 100-foot waterfall, or more just like we've got this. It goes down a little bit.
Let's make it kind of
Give it fantasy.
something we wouldn't have expected. Like, whoa, I didn't know there was going to be a waterfall in this forest.
Yeah,
It
and
seemed pretty flat, but literally right.
yeah, something
like
that like
30 minutes away, there's this huge waterfall.
yeah, the forest just kind of hit it, but yeah. So yeah, you approach this thing, and it seems like the forest couldn't possibly contain it. Having seen it from like an aerial view, basically, it just gives you all the more the sense of these trees. 'Cause remember, these are like on the order of like these huge redwoods, and potentially even bigger. So like it just makes it all the more clear. Like this forest really reaches up high if there's room for this. And I think they probably did the full on like blindfolding you along the way and like just leading you because they don't want you to know where this spot is, and all the more if you don't pass this, they don't want you to be able to find your way back easily because they don't want you in their community. So they blindfold you, they lead you a ways. I think it takes like it's probably like a 10 to 15 minute walk to get there. So not too far, but far enough. And maybe even like they've done some purposeful like getting you turned around along the way, and like taking a path that is not the most direct just to not make it easy to remember how you got there. But eventually, the blindfold is taken off your eyes. The light rushes back in. And it's still dim light from underneath the canopy of this forest, but they confirm what your ears have been hearing for a little while now, which actually, I like the idea of, like, what if this waterfall is eerily silent? Like, it looks like it's just crashing down.
Creepy.
Yeah, it's, like, crashing down, but, like, your eyes now are in conflict with your ears as they see that there's this, what should be really loud waterfall just not all that far in front of you, and it's just utterly silent. All you can hear are just the surrounding forest noises around you. And, like, just the various animals. And I think you can hear there's, like, the trickle of, like, the stream that comes out of the bottom of the waterfall that, like, cuts through the forest. I think you can hear that. But not the actual crashing. And, okay. Yeah. So they, Karihu gestures up towards this ledge and explains to you all the things that I was just explaining before about how, like, what this represents and how if you're worthy, that it won't feel like anything, but you have to cross from one side to the other underneath this waterfall, and should you prevail in this task, then they will accept it as a sign that you are worth consideration in the community. Like you'll be permitted as a visitor, basically, temporarily. And I think reinforces that this is not an option that we would give to everybody. Because you come with one who has a life debt, and you seem to be risking yourself on their behalf, we are giving you this chance. Do not squander it. There will only be one. And then they watch and wait.
Well, I'm definitely gonna remove some layers of clothing because
Oh, you don't want to
get those soaked.
You need to get naked then?
Yeah, down to my underground.
Skivvies. Gotcha. I was just imagining the elves watching as you remove clothing. If you went fully nude like them, they're like, oh, she's doing the path of the. Yeah. But okay.
Could do that.
Yeah, go with your heart. So you strip down a little bit just to make sure that not everything gets completely soaked. And let's ask the. No, I'm fine. I was gonna ask the Oracle whether or not they require clothing, but whatever. I don't think it matters enough. It's fine. You can take it off. We do whatever preparations you want. Is there anything else that you do in preparation before we do the roll? Anything else that would?
Because I'm really uncertain about what I'm even doing, so I just
Gotcha.
do what they tell me to do.
All right. Well, then let's do an edge roll for you. It's not something you're great at, but you've got a lot of momentum on your side. The plot wants you to succeed here, so let's see this face danger with edge. Okay. It's currently a miss. If you burn that momentum, you could turn it into a weak hit, though. Which I'd probably recommend here, since with their whole, you only got one shot and everything.
Yeah. Okay. I'll burn the momentum.
So burned. Alright. Yeah, sadly, one of those dice was just a little bit too high, because, of course, they're jerks like that. But you do turn this into a weak hit, which on this move is the type of thing where just one of your sliders is going to go down. I would recommend. Well, I mean, you have the options. It could be health, it could be spirit, it could be supply, it could in theory be momentum again, though that's probably not a great idea since it's now back down to its pretty low value. So let's see. What do you think is the kind of repercussion of this? You do make it, but is it just the frigid cold is a hit to your health, or is it indeed since in theory, is it the frigid cold is a hit to your health? Is it that your spirit is hit by this just because it's so nerve-wracking, or potentially even a sign that you're not actually worthy in the sense that they believe, but you've passed anyway. It was just really trying, and it's kind of a hit to your emotional state. Or do you indeed just lose more from your pack or I guess you took everything off, so that wouldn't really make a lot of sense to lose supply. So
I think it
I think one of the two of those other two is probably the ones that make the most sense, health or spirit.
Yeah, I think my spirit would, if I do pass, then my spirit wouldn't be.
If anything,
so much.
Maybe, you'd be proud.
Yeah, so maybe I feel weaker. Maybe the water really was just barreling down on me.
Yeah, it was freezing cold. And I imagine when they say the truly worthy will only feel it like a light rainstorm, they probably meant that more metaphorically and just if you're really worthy, you'll feel like nothing. I don't think that's literal. Nobody who does this would feel nothing. Um, and so you certainly feel it as well. And yeah, I think it's just you get through, but you're freezing cold. And just shivering so badly on the way through or on the way out, but you make it. There's probably some precarious moments along the way, almost slipped, but you're able to catch yourself, kind of really having to lean up against this wall and like flatly as possible and like keep your footing. But yeah, you make it across. Congratulations. You have passed the test of the test of the elves enough to be allowed into the village. So yeah, on the other side, like I don't think you were able to keep track of where they were the whole time because like you had to be so like pressed up against the wall you couldn't really see much of anything. It was just sort of a like just keep moving sort of thing. But they're there to greet you on the other side, immediately kind of like wrapping you up in your
Oh,
like they wouldn't have
oh, in my clothing.
yeah
I
yeah
guess they
like
would just
helping get your clothing. Well, I mean, they don't wear clothing, so like that may not be the immediate instinct. What would they do?
But
What does
I'm
it look
sure
like?
they understand.
I think they certainly understand,
strangers.
but I mean, like they would have. I think they would have a different way to try and get you warm if that's not
What
the
if
way they
they
do
know-
things.
What if they know magic and
Yeah.
one of them kind of just like wields this heated bubble around me
Yeah, like I
that
was.
just kind of like instantly dries me and warms me up, and maybe he's just like, you have no need for those, but
That's kind of.
well, here they are anyway.
Yeah.
After he
Yeah, I mean,
heats me up.
they'll certainly give you your clothes back, but yeah, exactly. I was thinking more along those lines that they might have something a little bit more just magical and yeah. One of them
That's what I imagined.
does some kind of like gestures in the air, with the and you see when this happens. Like obviously they have an all over glow, but that glow all around them kind of enhances and gets a little bit brighter during this process. And then I don't think it's as like spectacular as being like something you could really see like oh big like bubble in the air that everybody can see, but I think like as this happens, like indeed the air around you just feels that much warmer and more comfortable. And so before you can even really detect it, all of the just sopping wet, like just all of your skin is now like there's no more water on it. Like it rolls off before you can even notice, and you just feel this kind of like nothingness of the air where it's just it feels like it's your exact body temperature. So like you just don't even feel the air around you anymore. Which is a huge difference from the winter that it otherwise is.
Yeah.
And then Karihu comes back with your clothes. I imagine it like your clothes are already just like folded in their arms. I don't know why they would bother, but like it's just I keep picturing it that way where they're just like your he's like they're like please restore your own comfort. We shall allow you for a time to enter. You've done well. What did you say your name was?
I am Grae. Where am I from? Oh my god, I forget where I'm from.
I can't remember the name of our. I know we finally figured it out.
It's been so long.
I know we finally figured out what the name of the place was relatively recently, and I can't remember what it is.
The name of
Like the town that we. Yeah, I know we came up with it.
well,
But
we're from two different towns.
I mean, the one that we set out from. Anyway, I think that there is a. So like they return your clothes to you, and you I think Karihu is going to return your clothes, and then says, "Will you be returning to your clothing?" I ask because you'll have to be. We are going to grant you passage into the village for a time, but that the mark that I will place on you will only work if you remain exactly as you are. So, if you're going to wear your clothing, put it on before I make the mark.
I think I just put all my clothes back on.
Okay.
'Cause, yeah.
And that's what they expect, I think. That you're a human. This is how humans do. It's
Mhm.
I don't think that they hold the a kind of the like arrogance of a classic elf where it's like, oh, you're doing it wrong. So much just like we have different customs. It's like,
Yeah.
do humans wear clothing? So wear clothing. And then once you're fully dressed back and like you've got everything that you have, they I think they press two fingers again, like the spot like right between your eyes, um, and and like whisper some words in another language that you're not familiar with, and and then Karihu says that you should this this will allow you entrance into the village, and all within will recognize the mark. Like people will not give you trouble. And clearly, there's another village that has its own kind. Like before, we had the flower that you wore on your lapel. This one's got like a kind of magic mark that they put between your eyes. Everybody's got their own. Just like you're allowed here. And so we take you back to the village. I've got a hike this time. They don't bother blindfolding you, as you're allowed. I think it's still otherwise like unless you're making conversation on your own, like unless you're like probing them for anything. I think it's just a like nobody really says anything. They don't even talk to each other. It's all very quiet. Um, it's all just listening to the natural sounds around us.
Maybe they're telepathic. So
Who knows? Um, let's see. Where specifically would they take? I imagine there's some kind of a like council or something that you could be taken to, where like all the oldest people around, all the oldest elves would convene, and the people who are most likely to have the information for you. Um, so
I imagine somebody knows who Naya is.
well, that's somebody will definitely know. What I want to know though on the Oracle is Naya in this village or not? Because I don't know. Is our princess in another castle, or is Naya somewhere here still? Let's see. I'm going to put that as 50-50. So is Naya in this elven fortress?
I think it's highly likely because.
Well, it was yes anyway. I don't think it's highly likely. I mean, it doesn't matter because it's yes anyway, but I didn't put it as highly likely just because it has been like 10 years. So there's just no telling what might have happened in that time. And this is a fortress, not necessarily like a like there may be other just elven communities where people just live more regular lives. But Naya is still here, and
Yeah, I guess I was seeing it as just one central community where it was like where they all live. But I guess yeah, that makes sense.
yeah, since we rolled this up as being specifically a fort, I imagine that there's a particular kind of elf that lives here, and that you don't necessarily live here all of your life. And some people might, but some people they spend a time in whatever version of like this elven military is. Which I still don't know what exactly like what's the thing of value here that this fortress is protecting. I have no idea. But Naya is
Find that out.
yeah, but Naya is here, and
Yay.
you earned the right to do a gather information to find this out. You have that +1 from the compel that you did earlier. So let's find out like what kind of information do we get about Naya? How complicated is this? So let's see when you get to this place and ask them and have all of the kind of like more in charge people of this fortress able to tell you what you need to know. What is it that they tell you? So, hey, strong hit. So, It sounds like this is going to be some of the least complicated information. And Naya, for one, is indeed here. Let's see, where's gather information? Here we are. So you discover something helpful and specific. The path you must follow or action you must take to make progress and make clear. Envision what you learn and take +2 momentum. Hooray. Build that back up. Momentum up to +3. Yep. Get down. Get down there. Okay. So they obviously tell you like where Naya is in the village. Like these people know Naya, and know like they recognize this life debt thing. I think they even this is like a publicly known thing. Like, cause I think having a life debt to a human was probably a big deal and maybe something that had to be disclosed in some way, or maybe didn't have to be, but Naya would have wanted to make clear, like you should know for security reasons, like there is this human out here, and like a day may come, like I owe this debt, and I need you to know that. And so I think this comes as not a particular surprise. Like it's shocking, but it was indeed this thing that we're like we always knew this day would come. Flint has returned to pay back. Oh, I think when you passed the test, they gave you the necklace back too.
Okay.
Yeah, I think they'll give you that back. Or maybe it happens in this moment. Like we always knew this day would come. If Flint has indeed chosen you as his bearer, then I suppose it is your right to have this returned to you. Take Flint to Naya, and they tell you where to go, but take Flint to Naya, and may this business be concluded. When it is, we expect you to leave our domain, but take whatever time you need to make good on this debt.
Thank you. Oh, I feel like Grae's really intimidated by these.
I mean, they're huge
I don't know
for
what
one.
to say to them.
Yeah, like they're really tall, and they have this literal aura about them. So, yeah.
I wonder if I could tell one of them. No, I'm not comfortable with them.
Well, I know you had also talked about potentially leveraging this opportunity to try and learn a little bit more about either the obelisks or your hands or whatever.
That's what I was about to say.
Yeah.
Maybe I could ask someone there if they know anything about that and why my hands may be glowing. But I haven't come across anyone that I trust to ask that
Okay.
yet. So
Fair enough. No need to do it though. So you want to just pick up with Naya, who I think would just be in their like whatever version of like a barracks they kind of have. Like just Naya is not currently on. Maybe it's more interesting if Naya is currently like on the job, doing something. And granted, you got a strong hit. This information, there's no like wrinkles or complications to it. So.
Naya's teaching gliding classes to
Oh, I like that.
teenagers.
Yeah, let's go for that. Because yeah, Naya is at this point getting older. Flint even talked about how like they're kind of older and they owe this life debt. Like you might be able to convince them that it's time. So yeah, they probably don't do any kind of more active like being on the wall and on patrol or anything. But yeah, teaching younger recruits about a kind of more specific form of gliding, like a kind of a advanced gliding class. Yeah, I like that.
Evasive gliding.
Yeah, so I think like they take you to, because they don't expect you to be able to find your way around here. They have somebody escort you in a non-threatening sort of way, just guiding you to a spot where you're like on this platform, and you're already pretty high up. Like I think to get up here, they trying to think. They'd probably have a way to like. There's a tree that you had to climb, and we didn't make you roll for it then, but looking back, maybe would have. But it was probably a difficult climb that you're able to do. But you have to climb up this tree, and you're pretty high up already. Like there's probably several stories beneath you, but they're just the elf guide is like pointing up above. Does like this sweeping gesture, and you see like all of these forms, like they look like flies up above, just because they're just probably a good 100 feet even above your head still, just gliding about between these trees, kind of back and forth. And there's this one form that's doing like they're doing like this figure eight around between these two trees, and like flying these tight controlled patterns and stuff. And it looks like there's this entire class up there of just like a bunch of people that are gliding, seemingly without any kind of direct purpose, just gliding for the sake of gliding. And yeah, you've been told that it is a class. How would you like to get like they're like 100 feet above your head? How would you like to get their attention down here? You've been told that, like, Naya is one of them.
I don't know. I assumed someone would take me up to them, but I don't know.
I don't know that their gliding is like, I don't know if they can take on a second rider, especially somebody of human size. I think they can support their own weight decently enough for short periods of time, but probably can't just like carry you anywhere.
How did they get up there then?
Them? I think they're good climbers.
I don't know. I don't know how to get them down. I assume somebody would call them down or have some sort of system where they can get in touch with their other kind that are way up high.
Okay. Well, if you want, you can just wait them out. They'll come down eventually, I'm sure. So yeah, there's probably the class goes on for a little while, but eventually, returning back tired from it all, there's I think the students come down first. Like there's a group of kind of younger looking elves that pass you up and like are they're like almost weirded out, but then like they notice the mark, which I don't think, like, if you had a mirror, I don't think you'd be able to see it. I think it is kind of a like it leaves something in a sort of aura kind of way. It's not like a human wouldn't just see like a painted mark on your forehead. But they notice it and then walk past and start just kind of like giving hush whispers to each other as they walk past and kind of like look over shoulders, like clearly gossiping about and wondering about this human who's in their village, but not wanting to approach you directly. And then eventually, an older looking elf finds their way down and is like rubbing at some sore muscles as they walk along this this branch that you're all on, and then meet eyes with you, and see I think their eyes meet with you. They look at the necklace. They look back at you, and then like they were going to walk past, but then they stop, and like wheels in the head are turning, and see the intent on your face. Like clearly, you two have business, and Naya says, "I assume you weren't just here to watch the class."
Are you Naya?
I am.
Do you remember someone by the name of Flint?
And eyes that had otherwise been kind of like shutting a little bit through age definitely widen up a little bit more and say, I would not forget one such as Flint. Am I right to assume that is his presence? Eyes kind of like look towards the necklace.
Yeah, I just take the necklace off and give it to him. See if he's able to
If Naya can communicate.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I like the idea that, like, since we talked about how they do share a bond, that this would be something where, like, people who are who have a bond with Flint in a direct mechanical sense can do this connection. So yeah, Naya puts the necklace on, and then like closes their eyes, and like holds a hand over the little glowing bottle to like press it closer to their chest, and is like breathing in deeply, and there's this long silence that's happening from your point of view. It seems that they're doing some inward communication. Wait, I forget. You have to actually speak out loud, right? When you're talking to Flint, or can you indeed do it mentally? I can't remember.
I should have written this down.
Feel like that you've.
I thought the question was, do you have to be speaking out loud? And I thought it was, you don't have to be.
Okay.
But it wasn't.
I can't remember. All right. Well, then let's. Maybe you don't. And so yeah, there's just kind of this silence for a little bit as they're communicating. So let's see. So Flint would reach out and say, "You're still there, old timer." And so do you want to do the? Do you want to take on Naya for this part, so I'm not just doing this back and forth with myself?
Sure.
All right. Good to see that you're still around, old timer.
It's good to hear your voice. Where have you been?
I've been all over. To be honest, I wasn't accepting that sort of warm reception. I guess you people really do respect the debt between us.
It's not something my people take lightly.
I was hoping you might say that. I was...
Certainly.
When you promised it to me, never in my mind did I expect that I would be asking for something so direct and so literal to pay up on this life debt. But as you can probably tell, my life is in a bit of a peril of its own right now.
I can sense that. Where are you headed?
Well, ultimately, we're on our way towards investigating the obelisks. Their recent glow has given us a bit of a cause for concern and curiosity, if nothing else. But I can't fully do that, being this trapped inside this necklace as I am. We did some research, and my companion here, Grae, has learned of a way to restore me back into a body. But there's a catch on that. A few, really. I can only be returned to a body with somebody, the body of somebody with whom I share a deep emotional connection. This can't just be anybody, but somebody who really, we had a bond in life. And well, I'm asking that somebody to be you. So that my spirit can continue to perform in this world. It is not my time. And quite frankly, you promised me this debt, and I've lived many years beyond it on your own terms. I ask for you to pay on that debt. Yeah, I think this is still a very steep ask. It's not just like, well, yeah,
agree.
I owe you.
And I think that Naya is not ready to give up their life and their body. I think he or she, I don't know.
Yeah.
I
They.
think they, I'll just say that.
Yeah.
They don't know what it all encompasses, like what is required. They don't know anything about it, like what the process is. So
Yeah.
I think they ask that, like, what does this mean for me? If I say yes, does that mean my life is just ended? What?
Grae has done far more of the research and is more familiar. She would be more knowledgeable in this regard than I.
So as Grae, I would just say I don't know entirely what you will experience if we are successful with this transition. All I know is the steps required to get Flint back into a body.
Yeah.
I
wonder if there's a way we could roll the oracle on this. Like in all the research you've done, is there's a suggestion that the person inside of Naya's body, like would they indeed, like what is the answer to this? Like do they die? Is there like a swap that happens and now they're in a more just like spiritual form? Like what is the result of this?
Is it like a merger of two personalities, two spirits?
So why don't we roll some oracles on this to find out? Because you would know. Like you did all that research. What do we at least expect to happen? Now magic can go awry and something weird might happen. But what is, assuming everything goes right, what is supposed to happen here? So I guess the first most important question is: does this require Naya to die? And I'd put that as unlikely, possible, but I'm less interested in that being that it requires a full-on just you have to die to give this, and more that it might be one of those other options where like there's a bit of an exchange or combination or something. But let's see. Would this just kill Naya? No. Doesn't kill. In fact, even if I had... Oh, never mind. Yeah, if I had done that as 50-50, it would have been yes. But yes, unlikely, so no. It doesn't require their death, but we need to figure out between those two options. Is it that they just like swap places, or do they combine?
I guess we'll only know once we do it.
Yeah, we could leave that as a mystery. Just be like, you don't know what will happen, but it's not supposed to kill the other person. You just are not certain.
So I relay that to Naya and just say it won't kill you, but I don't know what you will experience in this process.
Yeah. All I know is that in the end of it, I'll inhabit your body and be able to use it as my own once more. Beyond that, it's all a mystery. Now, I want to at least roll a compel to see if, like, how receptive are they to this idea at all. Like, knowing at least that it won't kill them is at least a window to be at least possible. We're not literally asking them to commit suicide for us, but
It really could be that what happens is much like a person with DID, they actually share the body.
You're right.
And at different times have, they can still lead fulfilling lives, but it's a dual life.
Could be. And it's just as fantastical as DID.
Fantastic.
There's not a lot of consensus in the psychological community of whether or not that's a real diagnosis. Or whether some say yes, some say no. It's not very well agreed upon, at least as of the time that I was studying it, but that's been many years.
I've done a lot of research recently, and it's definitely noted as a real disorder.
Well, I'll happily talk with you more about that.
It's a real thing.
Time.
I swear it's a real thing.
Alright, so I'm gonna make a compel with heart. And with the +1, because we are bonded. Okay. She tried real hard. She rolled a 1 and a 10 on the challenge dice. Tried real hard, so this turns into a weak hit, which I think makes sense. This shouldn't be a strong hit. Be like, yep, ready to go. You've said everything. I'm good. I am ready to do this. So weak hit on compel, which is the classic. Like I'll get a little momentum out of this, but they're gonna want something in return. Clearly, the life debt is a good start, but it's a big ask. So there's something still missing here.
Maybe he doesn't want to do it right away. Maybe he wants to go with us, maybe he wants to mull it over some more, but is willing to help us continue our journey.
Well, I can certainly do a oracle on Naya to find out like what is their what's their goal, like what's most important to them right now. So let's see. Character goal is resolve a dispute. So like they clearly have some kind of unfinished business that would need to happen first that involves some kind of dispute. You think this is a dispute involving them, or they're more just like moderating a dispute? Like there's something between people that are important to them that they need to finish this business. Like if they're gonna go through this dangerous thing where they don't know what might happen, there's something that would need to be resolved first. It could potentially even involve this is a fort. They're doing service right now. Like they're expected to be here. The results of this might make that impossible. So there might be something they need to work through with like the elders here first to make this okay. Or like they might have to do something that like more officially fulfills their service before they could put that in jeopardy.
Or maybe he just needs more convincing. Like the dispute is between him and Flint.
Yeah, I mean,
right.
We could. That feels a little too much. Just like not moving the story ahead for my taste. Where like it would just be doing another roll on the same thing. Like most ideally, I'd like every new step along the way to have like some new component to it. Just to keep things moving. I'm hoping to find something that's got like a nice kind of like clear moment where it'll be like, now this is resolved, as opposed to leaving it in that kind of up in the air where like there's no real good sign of whether or not that's been accomplished. But if we can think of something like the way that they do service around here may indeed be keyed to a kind of like you serve until you have done this thing, and Naya potentially has not fulfilled that yet, and would need to do it before they could leave. I'm gonna do another action and theme to get a kind of help get some inspiration on like what is the sort of thing that they need to accomplish in part of this military service. Protection comes up again. Suppress. And it could be about a like protection is definitely bringing me into my like again this is a fort like it might be about basically having a replacement. Like they can't just leave this area until somebody is in an official capacity like taken over their spot as a soldier on this wall or this station. Suppress though is interesting. I'm wondering what that might mean in this case. I think so. If we bring this all back to resolving a dispute, what if Naya has like this next person who's supposed to take over for them in mind, and maybe it was even if you ask some people like that was already supposed to happen. Like Naya's getting a little bit old, but for some reason this other elf is like important or something. Like I imagine it is like they're like noble or something, and like they have some kind of pull enough in the community to like keep them from taking over because they don't want to and they know the right people. And so there's this dispute over whether or not this other elf should be taking over for Naya, and so far there's enough of like there's people that are unconvinced and they're powerful people, and so it hasn't happened, and so Naya needs the help convincing the right people and getting this this other elf whose name is let's get a name for him. Ditani. So there's this other elf named Ditani who is in theory supposed to take over and relieve Naya of this position, but it hasn't happened, and this seems very purposeful. Ditani is delaying it as long as possible and potentially indefinitely, and that dispute has to be resolved so that Naya can finally kind of retire.
So, what do they have to do to resolve that dispute?
Well, let's see. I'm not sure. I think let's see let's figure out as kind of like some of the last stuff that we can, because we're starting to run a little bit low on time. Let's try and get a good sense of like what is the other side of this. Like why has Ditani been able to get away with this? Like there's obviously some claim that they've got that we'd have to be able to dispute properly, like get it to make it not relevant or whatever, like some way that we can invalidate this. So what is Ditani claiming to put this off? Because obviously I don't think they could just so directly be like, I know important people, so no. They'd have to have some excuse that they're using, that they just are only able to get away with because they know important people. So let's roll another theme. Or it could be like, I guess we have suppress on there. I wonder if it's if we go with kind of a real world analogy where it's the kind of like a biological thing where it's just like, yeah, I'm not like, it's like the I have bone spurs, like I couldn't possibly serve, like I don't and so if there's some way to prove that they're in good health, they could or have been properly healed. Like maybe it may not even be 100% bullshit, but okay, yeah, okay. Here's what we got. I came up with an idea. So Naya says, Titani has many of the others fooled, though not me. I know that they are purposely keeping themselves sick so that they will not be able to serve. Just sick enough. But it is artificial. I've never been able to prove it, but I know this is true. They are doing something to themselves so that they do not appear well enough. The claim is that when they are finally well enough, they will of course take over for me, but the day simply has not come. This illness is prevailing. It has gone on far too long. But being here as I am, I've not been able to do anything about it. If you could prove that this is something they're doing to themselves, then I have to imagine that nobody would be able to overlook this. They would not be able to turn a blind eye anymore to the obviously suspect situation. Ditani could take over, and then I would be able to work with this situation to repay this debt. So, if you want my body for this, you're going to have to prove Ditani a cheat. I can tell you everything you need to know about where to find them, but I don't know how they're doing it. I just know they are. I can feel it.
Am I going to have to do some spying?
If that is your approach.
I'm not the stealthiest of people. Yeah, I don't really know what action to take. I can offer to spy on them, but I think I kind of stand out like a sore thumb in this place.
Yeah. Then is there something you're like asking for, or like is there something you're trying to get out of it? Like it wouldn't have to necessarily literally be spying, but like that is the situation as it is.
Well, since I'm accepted in the community, maybe I just ask to be shown around a little bit more, and maybe I can get my information that way.
Yeah, like you might be able to just get it socially. Like there might be others who know more about this. Like I definitely think there are multiple angles that you could approach at. You wouldn't have to just like sneak in and like catch whatever they're doing. You might be able to just find the right people and talk to them. Get somebody to come forth and some witness on your side or whatever. Or find whatever part of this community has the shadier elves that are willing to do spying. Make it worth their while.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
We'll just try to compel Ditani
to like, you know what you're doing. Like, yeah. There's a bunch of ways you could do it. None of them will have time to do right now, though. We've got about 10 minutes left before we usually wrap up. You know me, I always like to try and end on some kind of a big moment, though I'm trying to think of one that might be coming up for this, and I'm coming up a little bit blank of like Like, obviously, we could start along that road, but
Hey Naya, can you teach me how to glide?
it just pushes you off the platform, and then falling through the air.
And cut to NC.
Yeah. I mean, we could try. Like, we've got 10 minutes. So, if is one of those routes more preferable to you than others? Is there? Are you
I think
good?
I just want to be taken to Ditani.
Okay, so you want to just confront them directly?
Yeah, just
Okay.
I want to say that I'd like to get to know them.
Okay. I want to find out. We're gonna get some descriptors on Ditani to find out what they're like. We've got deceitful. Well, that much was clear already. But the game agrees. Ditani is deceitful.
Yeah.
Strong. Okay, so probably one of the larger kind of elves. Which is odd. Like they're saying, like, "Oh, I'm sick. I can't possibly do it." But clearly, they're actually quite strong. This is all working out. Oh, and Ironsworn. Um, so they actually, despite all of this deceit and everything, they fully subscribe to the whole swearing on iron thing, and the binding that is to that degree. Like they have done it. They could be compelled to do it. Now, I don't think any of this is stuff that you know yet.
Like Ditani could be part of Ironsworn.
Yeah, Ditani is an Ironsworn.
That's interesting.
Yeah. Okay,
An Ironsworn maybe that went into hiding.
Yeah. And I think still also, like, is an elf, but... Although that could be really interesting if the full deceit of this is they're not even an elf. And so that's part of the reason why they don't want to serve is, like... Yeah. They, Yeah, okay, why don't we end
That
on...
could be interesting.
Why don't we end on this moment, then? So, like, you're taken to Ditani, and, like, it's... Ditani, like, clearly demands from inside, like, their hut or whatever they are, that, like, only one, like, you can come in, but just you. They only want to deal with one person at a time. And, because they're, like, all tucked away in bed or something. Now, what is something that you see when you get into the room, something that tells you that makes it hit you that Ditani is not human, like some possession that they have or something in the way they look. Like there's something that you pick up on where Grae immediately realizes Ditani's not even human, and ideally something that the elves would overlook, like they didn't even think about.
I don't know. I think I don't think that Ditani would have a possession because they're very naturalistic and they don't.
Yeah.
Positions or anything like that.
But like there's something that you can see though, like
I think maybe my hands just start glowing more around him.
And so it's just like and so you understand
spirits. I don't know.
But you just like understand immediately like that's what the glowing means. So ideally, I was thinking.
I don't know.
I think
maybe it's just a feeling. Maybe it's just just this unspoken feeling.
You just like look in their eyes, and like they look back at you, and there's something in that look where like you see through that window to the soul, and look at them and look at like maybe they glow a little bit.
Ironsworn never misses an Ironsworn.
Yeah, like they glow a little bit, but in a way that or maybe you're okay. So you always swear on your blade, right? So what if it's not your hands that glow so much as your blade does a little, like the iron?
What if the blade starts getting hotter?
Yeah, like the iron itself responds to another of its kind, and it recognizes it's in the possession of another Ironsworn, and so like you feel it against your leg, and we cut on you realizing. I don't know if you vocalize it or not, but it hits you. Ditani's not even human.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah. And
That's interesting.
with that, we'll go out on that moment. There we go. I knew if we reached just a little bit, we could find something, some kind of good right before the credits hit moment. And you're like, I imagine this as like somehow this is like this communicate idea between like all three of us. Like you've got the necklace on and everything, so like so that Titania doesn't hear it. I imagine like right before the credits, Flint just says, "My God, they're Titania's not even human." And then yeah, executive producer, and all that. Yeah. So now we know all the more why they're trying to hide it. This has been another episode 19 of this season of Ironsworn with our characters Grae and Flint. We're getting getting all the closer to actually getting Flint back on board as a full-on character. We're almost there.
This was supposed to happen like 10 episodes ago.
I know, right? I remember where it's like, if we just really buckle down on it, we can get this done right now. Now, that was back when there was still Muko in the picture, and we didn't know how many pieces there would be to this ritual. There's all sorts of... We were naive back then, but hey, we're really making it a thing that's like basically making a full campaign out of this. Really making us work for it, which I don't know. I feel like that's a good thing. Like,
my God, thank you
oh really?
so much.
El the violinist. Thank you for the follow. I like the idea of not making it easy to just, oh, you died, we'll just bring you right back. It's fine. Like, really had to work for this. But yeah, if you enjoyed the session and are curious about again, this is episode 19. There's been a lot of context leading up to this, so I highly recommend you check out the YouTube videos. There's a link down below the video player that'll take you to the playlist, or to my channel, and you'll be able to find the playlist pretty easily. Of course, if you're watching this on YouTube, then you are officially fully caught up at this moment. As long as you're watching this before May 19th, 2020, then you are now caught up. And yeah, if you didn't catch this full episode and want to see more of it, this will be joining that playlist tomorrow. But otherwise, yeah, I'm Midnight Jester 8. I do other stuff on this channel that's mostly music related. I've also been playing a game called Return of the Obra Dinn lately, which has been a lot of fun. Going to be returning to that tomorrow. But I'm joined by Blinkin' Firefly, who is another music streamer who's got all sorts of other stuff. What do you do on your channel?
I sing and play lullabies.
Yeah.
And the such.
Absolutely does. And you should, if you enjoyed this, you should go over and give her a follow, give her some love as well. And yeah, I hope to be seeing you around. We do this every Tuesday afternoon, starting at 2 p.m. Pacific time, 5 p.m. Eastern time, and we go for 2 hours like today. And yeah, hope you enjoyed. Hope to see you around and continue on our adventures of Ironsworn. And if you really liked it, really recommend you go and pick up a copy for yourself. The game is available for free at ironswornrpg.com. It is fantastic. It is so well written that you are able to play it entirely by yourself with no GM necessary. It is perfect for when you're in quarantine. You can literally just roll up an adventure right now with no planning whatsoever. We don't think through any of this going up. We just kind of roll with it along the way. You can do the same thing. It's got some great moves. No GM required. Just, you can pick up the main game for free, and you could be doing an adventure today. It's relatively simple to pick up. Takes a little getting used to, but the underlying system isn't too bad. You can easily learn it in a day, and then yeah, you could be playing your own adventures. And if you do, I want to hear what happens in them. Tell me all about your stories. But anyway, and until next week, keep ironing those irons. I'll see y'all around. See ya.